The slow river moves beneath a pale evening sky. Not rushing, not still, just carrying what it carries. The surface bends around stones, slips past low branches, gathers faint lines of light, then releases them again. Nothing here is holding everything together. And still, everything continues. The river does not tighten around the bend. It does not grip the banks to prove it can stay. It moves because movement is what it knows. A cool thread of air touches the skin. Soft across the face. Light along the arms. Present without asking anything. And beneath that air, there is the familiar weight of trying. Trying to keep the day from spilling. Trying to keep the people, the feelings, the plans, the unfinished pieces from falling apart. Not loudly, not even dramatically. Just that quiet pressure to stay gathered. The river moves on. Over stone. Around root. Under the low branch. Carry. Release. Carry on. The rhythm is simple. Carry. Release. Carry on. And the body hears it before the mind understands. The breath begins to ease by itself. Not controlled. Not shaped. Just less caught. The ground beneath you feels steady. Damp earth. Small stones. Roots holding quietly under the soil. And weight begins to settle downward. Feet heavier. Legs quieter. The body dropping closer to the earth. Not little by little. noticeably. As if the effort to hold everything upright finally slips from the shoulders and falls into the ground. The river keeps moving. It does not stop to collect itself. It does not gather every ripple into order. It carries, releases, carries on. A leaf turns slowly near the bank. It catches for a moment in a small circle of current. Then the water loosens around it. And it moves forward. That quiet tension recognizes itself there. The way what has been holding can circle the same worry. The way care can become pressure. The way responsibility can start to feel like breath being held too long. The air touches the skin again. Cooler now. Clean. Moving gently through the trees. A branch leans over the water. Its reflection breaks apart with every ripple. Still, the branch remains whole above it. And something in that begins to soften. Not everything has to look held together to still be held. Not every reflection has to stay perfect. The river knows this. Carry. Release. Carry on. Then, for one clean moment, the pattern changes. A small stone shifts beneath the current. The water catches, lifts, and makes a brighter sound. Not loud, not startling, but clear. Attention turns. The river feels closer now. The air feels closer. The body feels more real inside the moment. and something changes. The pressure to hold everything together loosens at the center. Not around the edges. At the center, a deeper place gives way. The chest opens with more room than before. The breath moves through without pushing. The jaw softens. The shoulders no longer feel like they are carrying the whole sky. The river keeps moving. Same water. Same banks. Same evening light. But the moment feels different. Closer. More honest. Less distant than thought. And the truth arrives without needing to be explained. You do not have to hold everything together for life to keep moving. The river is not holding the whole river at once. It is only meeting this bend. This stone, this passing light, and somehow the river continues. Carry, release, carry on. The body understands in its own quiet way. Weight low. Breath easier. Air moving over skin. There is still responsibility. Still care. Still a life with moving pieces. But the grip has changed. What once needed to stay clenched begins to open around the edges. What once felt like control begins to feel more like exhaustion leaving. The river widens ahead. The trees pull back from the bank. The sky opens wider above the water. A faint line of gold stretches across the surface and breaks into 100 moving pieces. None of them stay whole. All of them shine anyway. And there it is. The opening. Not relief that everything is solved. Not certainty that nothing will be hard. Something deeper. A sense that life does not depend on one body holding all of it at once. The future is not closed. Even with loose ends. Even with unanswered things. Even with more still moving than settled. Something is still possible. The next stretch of water has not arrived yet. But the river is already moving toward it. Not forcing. Not proving. Moving. Carry. Release. Carry on. The breath eases again. The body stays weighted and grounded. The air continues brushing across the skin like the world has not pulled away. And that quiet pressure, the one that believed everything might collapse without constant holding, begins to feel less absolute. Less like truth. More like an old strain finally being noticed. The river carries small leaves, broken twigs, reflected light, a little foam near the stones. It does not reject what enters it. It does not become trapped by what passes through. It carries, releases, carries on. And now the rhythm feels less like a sound outside. It feels like a way forward. a way of being with what comes. A way of not closing around every unfinished thing. The evening deepens. Blue gathers behind the trees. The water darkens, but the motion remains visible. Life continues from here. Not after everything is managed. Not after everyone is okay. Not after every piece is placed exactly where it belongs. Here, with the river moving, with the body heavier than before, with the breath no longer caught in the old grip. Something is opening. Not far away. Not someday. Here, in the place where holding begins to become allowing. The river turns beyond the trees. The sound continues even where the water can no longer be seen. And that matters. Because not every part of the path needs to be visible for movement to continue. Not every outcome needs to be held for life to keep unfolding. Carry, release, carry on. The body remains low and steady. The chest remains open enough. The air remains close. And ahead, beyond this bend, there is more river. More light changing. More movement forming. More life becoming something not fully known yet. This is not an ending. It is a loosening that continues. A current still moving forward. A quiet opening that does not close when the moment changes. The river keeps going. The world keeps breathing. And what has been holding everything so tightly begins to understand. It can release one piece, then another, and life will still keep moving. Carry, release, carry on. Beyond the bend, the water continues. Beyond this moment, something is still becoming. And the opening moves with it.